Maseches Bava Metzia, Daf Nun Aleph, Daf Nun Aleph Amud Beis, 51b. Nun Aleph Amud Beis. Okay, that's really cool. Tomorrow I'll be 52, and tomorrow's 52. Hey, what a hug from Hashem. Okay, and what? No, 52 I said.
No, tomorrow's the 25th.
This is my birthday. Yeah, I know. That much I know. Yeah. If you say so, fine. Let's go. Weiter. Okay, thank you. Weiter. Ton Rabbanon. If you're interested in giving me gifts, I have ideas to tell you. Ton Rabbanon. We are a few lines before the Mishnah in Aleph from the base. Anoise v'anoisen ba'amono. Yeah. Anoise v'anoisen ba'amono. You have it. Line starts with the word loy, and then Ton Rabbanon hanoise v'hanoisen. Okay. I spoke too early and Zoom stopped. Anoise v'anoisen ba'amono. Harei zeh. The story is as follows. We have to see Rashi here, but first I'll tell you the picture in general. We're going to learn on something to do with ribis, and I'll give you an introduction. Another idea I want to tell you. The ribis is a very sneaky, sly kind of thing. In other words, ever played, those games they have to spot the, spot the differences. There's a big picture and you have to spot one item. The ribis is a little bit like that. Sometimes there's a story that you can't imagine in your mind would have to do with ribis, and all of a sudden there's a certain almost kivyachol twisted cheshbon that shows you there's ribis. Some kind of weird aspect, something coming from left field that shows you here there's a chashash of ribis, and this is one of those cases. So we're going. I'll tell you Baal Peh. We'll see Rashi and we'll get it right. Be'ezras Hashem. Lafi Rashi, Tosfos has a whole different explanation. Anoisev anoisen ba'amono. This noisev anoisen ba'amono, as opposed to the way I explained it before, is a person who has an agent. Imagine yourself, Reuven wants to sell wine. That's the example Rashi gives, okay? Reuven wants to sell wine, but he also wants to sit at home and relax by the fireplace and read the newspaper. So he wants Shimon to do his agent and do the actual legwork and do the job and sell the wine. And how is that going to work? There are two different ways for that to work. We all know. Either it can do ba'amono. Ba'amono means, I believe you, however much profit you'll make, you'll bring me all the profit. How much? Well, Amona, I believe you, they give me all the profit, and you get a set salary. You get in advance, usually it's given in advance, as we'll see later, I'll give you already now a set amount, either a set percentage from the original, or a set amount of money, or some of the actual wine. We'll see that I'm giving you, and you sell, and you give me all the, all the profits. Okay. That's one way. What's the other way? Percentage. You don't do ba'amono, you do be'shove. Shove means that you get the cut. I get also a cut as a Reuven, the owner, but you, Shimon, you take a percentage. Okay? So far, so good. These are the two ways. Comes the Gemara and tells us, don't mix and match. Don't have in the same sale, in the same agreement, both types of agreements mixed up together. Why not? Let's see. Says the Gemara. A person who basically gives his shliach, his agent, the percent, not the percentage, ba'amono, that meaning that I'm prepaying you in order to go ahead and do your work and do the legwork and sell the wine, let's say. You should not calculate as hara ba'amono v'sayofe b'shove. If you have two types of goods, one of them is ra. Let's say I have bad, cheap wine, and it takes a long time to sell that bad wine. Okay, that is one kind of wine. Don't calculate that ba'amono. What does it mean ba'amono? Don't calculate that by giving him a set price for that. You're taking a long time to sell my bad wine. I'll prepay you for that. And the good wine, don't say take percentage for the good wine. Don't do that. Why not? Soon we're going to see. Rashi will explain and I'll elaborate more. Ella, but rather, either the good schoiro that takes very quickly to sell and the bad one that takes a long time to sell, both of them you should sell in the same agreement equally ba'amono, which means for a set amount of money prepaid like a salary, or each one you should pay by percentage. I'll give you the general picture, okay, and then we'll look in Rashi. Maybe it should be the other way around, but I feel first we get the general picture. The general picture, and if you need the whiteboard, let me know. Don't be ashamed, although I don't know if we need it. If we need it, you tell me. I'll get off my seat all the way to the whiteboard and do it. Have two tracks in your mind now. Let's say now is Chaf Dalet Teves, and in honor of my upcoming birthday, I want you to sell some wine for me, okay? And I'll tell you, yeah, who's volunteering to be my agent? Yeah, whatever, yeah. Anyway, I tell Yaakov, you all the way from the peanut gallery, I want you to sell me the good wine and the bad wine. Now, the good wine, how will I pay you? I'll pay you percentage. Yeah, once you get the good wine, yeah, you're going to get the percentage. Okay, that's one way. And what about the bad wine? The bad wine, I'll pay you in advance. Okay, I'll pay you in advance for the good wine, b'shove. Excuse me, yeah. As I said, yeah. Don't do that. Why not? Listen to what's happening now. You're going to sell the good wine. Actually, it could have been a good idea. If not, for now, we're going to hit a stumbling stone. No. Only two people. Okay, he's not relevant to the story. He's not relevant, actually. We have enough on our plate. Reuven sent Shimon the agent to sell him good wine that takes very quick, and bad wine, Rashi says it's only sold in a chanut. Chanut, by the way, is not a shop. Chanut many times means a bar or a pub that people used to go and drink. It mentioned many times in the Gemara. Now, if you sell the good wine and you tell me, listen, Akiva, the good wine, I just made a profit and I owe you the profit, right? In other words, at least some of it you're supposed to give me, the owner, right? And you say to me, Akiva, do you mind? I'll keep the cash. Let's say the good wine was sold for one expensive bottle for 1,000 shekels. I'll keep the 1,000 shekels, says the agent. Let's say you say, the agent, I'll keep that. And I still want to have the money with me. Yeah, and you wait for your money. Whenever we talk about a person waiting for money, blink, spot the ribis. Agar natar. Whenever somebody waits for money and gets something else in return, although it was not a loan, it's considered as if it's a loan with the Rabbanon. Wait till the end of the story. Now you say, wait for the money. I won't give you, let's say tomorrow, Chafei Teves, the wine was sold. Right away, there's profit, which I, the owner, am supposed to get, at least most of it. And yet you say, wait with that. Okay, I'm waiting. Why am I waiting for the money? I need the money. Why am I waiting? Because you tell me, listen, Akiva, you know that the bad wine takes a long time to sell. It's going to take Teves, Shvat, Adar, Nisan, until Pesach. It's going to take a long time. The bad wine, people drink ahina hair. Yeah, if they have no choice, it's much more of a slow sale. And I owe you money. What kind of money do I owe you for selling the bad wine? Cash that I should have given you in advance. Remember, you have two boxes in your mind. The good wine is sold for percentage, and the bad wine is supposed to be sold for money that I give you. You tell me, Akiva, you know what? Don't pay me for selling the bad wine. Don't pay me for selling the bad wine, which takes time. Instead of paying, you know what you should do? Let me keep the money for a longer time, which means I am waiting for the money of the good wine, right? And in return, he gave me something. He was moichel, he gave in, yeah, he gave up on the money that I owe him for selling the bad wine, and that takes time. So Lemaisa, I am waiting for the 1,000 shekels, which 1,000 shekels for good wine that was sold the day later. The day later was sold, and I'm waiting 3 months. Doesn't have to be those dates, but it could be. Why am I waiting for this money? Because I'm saying, he's giving me, he wants to use the money because he needs the 1,000 shekels to invest and do things with that and buy stuff, and eventually give me the 1,000. In return, Yaakov, the agent, gives me something. In addition, what does he give me? He gives me, and that's confusing, he gives me the money that I owe him. To be moichel chayv is a big matana. Imagine yourself a big Baal Chov. He crossed off the debt I owe him for paying him for selling the bad wine. So the Maisa, it sounds twisted, but at the end of the day, of course, it's not Ribis Doraisa. There's no loan, there's no pre-agreement. But any time that a person waits for money, and in return for waiting for the money, the person who holds the money, in this case, Yaakov, if he holds my money for a longer time and I'm patient, and for that patience I get money, it's not called a business deal. It's called what? Ke'ein ribis derabanan. And that's why it's osur. Okay, that's the story here. I don't know even if we have to see Rashi at this point. If it's not clear, tell me. But that's no. The debt is what I owe you for selling the bed. Again, I made two agreements with you, and that's what we mixed them up. The bed wine, I'm supposed to pay you in advance 100 shekel, let's say, or 200 shekels for what? For selling the bed wine. But I didn't yet. You very quickly sold my good wine. They're supposed to give you a different kind of agreement. And you said, you know what? For the good wine, I'm supposed to get the revach of the good wine. Part of the percentage goes to me. I'm the balabais. And you say, Akiva, would you mind waiting for that? Wait for the money of the good wine that already sold it yesterday. 1,500 shekels for the bottle of wine. Why am I waiting why am I waiting nicely like a patient little boy, 1,500 shekels for that you are still holding? Because you say, Akiva, that waiting for the money is instead of paying me the 200 shekels they owe you for selling the bed wine. So it looks like a nice, tit for tat, good agreement. No, it's not. Because once I let you have the money for longer, agar natal, remember the words, because that's preparation for the next parak. Once I'm waiting, schar hamtanas mois, waiting for money, and in return, the person who holds the money for longer than expected, in return, he gives me something. In this case, I know he didn't hand me money, but he was moichel dechoiv. He erased my debt of him selling the bed wine. That smells schmecks of ribis. It's not ribis d'oraisa. You can ask many questions. The Maisa Rabbanan were so makmir, they were so stringent on ribis that anything that looks or smells or feels like ribis is osur, including this. The Rishon time, bidiuk, buying time, don't mean buying time as they say in English, yeah, buying the person's patience and paying for that is not a nice, kilu barter. No, it's looked like it's considered as a form of ribis d'Rabbanan. Now, the Rishonim who argue with Rashi, many Rishonim argue on Rashi, and I'm not going to explain them. They ask on Rashi, why does that appear here to the appeared in Ezu Neshech? It's a pure ribis sugya. Okay, question, but I'm going with Rashi now. Okay, now, you're happy? Good. Says the Gemara, both of them should either be sold ba'amana, both of them should be sold ba'amana for percentage. Excuse me, ba'amana is for percentage. Oh, sorry, it's very confusing because I don't know why is one more amana than the other. Both of them should be sold for good faith, which means I trust you that ba'amana you give me all the gains, all the profits. I trust you. I don't know how much profit you made. Maybe you were skimming off the milk here. No, we say I trust you, and I'm giving you, and I'm expecting the amana. I'm giving you in advance. I'm giving you a prepayment of a set amount. Yeah, but I expect all the gains. Or both good wine and bad wine, both should be sold b'shaveh, which means they should be sold for percentage, and the agent skims off and takes percentage. And continues the Gemara. Now, what else should the agent get? Let's say the agent says, excuse me, mister, besides, when I come with all the good wine, not with the wine, hopefully, with all the good money I made from the wine, Yaakov comes back to me with the money of the wine that he sold. So also he should take, besides, when we make the whole calculation, the balabais, I'm supposed to be the one paying for the kataf, for the person schlepping it. Let's say I had to get a schlepper, a sabal, a porter, I don't know it's called in nice English, a person who schleps, porter. So that person, the sabal, the kataf, fine, the one who holds it on his shoulder and schleps it, that person, the expense should be on the owner, not on the agent. Yeah, Sachar Gamal. Let's say there was a big amount, he had to use a camel driver, so pay the camel driver from the pocket of that's halachic agreement. Again, if the agreement is different between them, fine. Halacha recommends that the one paying for the kataf or the gamal should be the owner and not the agent. Thank you. Sachar pundak, the inn, the hotel, storage. He went all the way far away to Australia to sell the wine, right? He has to pay for the hotel, for the airline ticket. Schar atzmai ein noitel, but his own sachar, the sachar of the actual agent, he doesn't take. Why doesn't he take? Because the sechar was already given. What do you mean and how do you know? Where did he give him sechar yet? Did he give him any sechar before having any money? They didn't make any money yet. So what kind of sechar did he get? What kind of salary did the person get? We kept talking about prepaying. Let's say the person who made the wine is broke. He doesn't have extra funds to prepay the agent. So why do you assume that you paid him already from the beginning? And now when they come to the end, then we assume, unless known otherwise, when they come to Beis Din, the assumption is that everything, that his own salary was prepaid in the Amono, option. As we mentioned that item in the previous Amud, Tzedruye are, it says canvas, pieces of canvas, meaning pieces of cloth, fabric. No, silk was something else. Silk was what? Canvas. I know. Rashi says canvas. What? Hemp. Hemp. Okay, I guess. Okay, hemp is a material you make canvas from. That's absolutely terrific. Yeah. Betzedruye, dehavi arbo lemea. What does that mean? The people who said tzedruye, those people who give who send agents to sell the tzedruye, that piece of cloth, that raw piece of cloth, what they do, and we saw that in other Rishonim, they give the agents from the actual schayra, 4 out of 100, which means if I give you 100 pieces of cloth to sell, of fabric to sell, you get in advance 4 actual pieces that I have to give. Or wine, maybe it's the same. You're about to sell 100 bottles of wine of mine, good ones, bad ones, ugly ones, whichever ones. 4 out of 100, I'm supposed to give in advance. And then the percentage you keep, a percentage you give me, or the percentage, which is a mono, because I believe you that that's a percentage you made. And that you have to give me, the owner, and you already were paid in advance the 4 bottles of wine, or 4 out of 100 of whatever. Okay, we're going to stop now a second, and here I have the chart currencies of the Talmud. For the next Mishnah, we'll have to just use the whiteboard a little bit. 1 second. Yeah, questions. If you want to ask questions, you'll have to excuse my back. Okay, here we have the chart that prepares us for the next Mishnah. Okay, good. Is the art scroll in agreement with me? Yeah. Oh, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Oh, lucky me. Birthday gift. Okay, weiter. So the next Mishnah discusses what happens if a person was moina the other, he cheated on the other person, or possibly by mistake, and he gave him money that's not good enough. Again, we live in a world where currency is currency. Either the dollar is good or bad. But back then, the actual size of the coin made a difference, and sometimes the coin would chip. Yeah, would start, eroding and chipping, and at some point, it's missing so much metal that it's already worth less, and it's considered to be as oino. The question is how little, which means just like, yeah, let's say I bought the jacket and I was overpriced or sold it at underpriced, so too can happen, yeah, when I buy the coat, I buy the jacket, and I give the vendor, I give him a, let's say, dinar or sela, which is chipped, which is not, doesn't have the same weight that it's supposed to have, right? Then at some point you can say that's yeah. In other words, if it's only chipped a little bit, it's missing a little bit of metal, that can still be overlooked. But at some point it gets so bad that we say, hey, that's already, you can claim that it's and claim back the difference, or maybe even cancel the entire deal. Depends how much. Okay. So basically, now we're talking about the coins themselves. Imagine yourself a coin that, like they see in the museums in the archaeology section, right? They don't look nice, those coins, right? So those coins, imagine yourself, is just chipped, it's missing, and therefore is worth less. Let's see what the Mishnah has to say. How does halacha view that? Already question. Who? Shekel. Shekel is half a seller. Depends. There are 2 shkolim. Shekel is half a seller. I didn't write him as the main thing, not to confuse you. Yeah. What you have in your pocket now is half a seller. Says the Mishnah. These cars, they could be, there is a Tsuri and the Tana Eretz Yisrael, probably in Eretz Yisrael, because that's the Tana talks about it. As the Gemara says in Gittin, the Gemara says in Shabbos and Gimel Amud Beis, Tana Eretz Yisrael Koi. The Tana speaks in Israeli terms. So it's probably Eretz Yisrael, yeah. What? Half a shekel? No, a shekel is half a shekel is dinar. A seller because the dinar one seller contains 4 dinarim and 2 shkolim. So dinar is half a shekel, but that leave shekel alone for now. Okay, we have issues with shkolim as it is. Says the Mishnah, how much would the seller be missing? How much of it should be missing physically? And it's still not considered to be oino from a seller, which is the highest coin. 4 isorim. How much is 4 isorim in comparison? 4 isorim. How much is 4 isorim in comparison to a seller? That is 1/24th, right? 1/24th. True. I'm such a genius in math. Kayadua, kayadua. Then he thinks it's true. What? It's 1/20 exactly. Yeah, whatever you say, that's true. Isar ledinar, and the same thing. It's the same calculation. 1 isar per dinar. 1 isar per dinar is only also 1/24th. So according to Rabbi Meir, it's 1/24th. Rabbi Meir, 1/24th. As long as it's not 1/24th, then it's not but that's a very small number. As opposed to 6 when it comes to real schoire, when it comes to coins, we're being much more particular and much more demanding. If you cheated and it's less than 1/24th or more than 1/24th missing, that's already. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Arba Pundinios, 4 pundinios out of a sela. So that's what Rabbi Yehuda says. He says 1/12. Says Rabbi Yehuda 12. 1/12 is the okay is the amount that's considered oino for money. Pundion le dinar, or alternatively, you can it as 1 pundin out of a dinar. That's what even I know that 2 times 6 is 12. So 1 pundion out of a dinar is 1/12. Okay, now, Rab Shimon Oimer. Rab Shimon says, Rab Shimon Omer 8 pundinios, 2 pundinium ledinar. Rab Shimon says 8 pundion out of the 48 sela. That is a 6. 8, from the entire, the number is really, says Rab Shimon, a 6. Good old 6, meaning, that's 1/24th, 1/12th, or 1/6. That's the amount. That's a machloikis about what's considered oino when it comes to money. Sorry. Okay, Rakrega. Okay, sorry, excuse me for that. Second. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll continue. Please do that. Okay, let's continue. Ad Mosa, Nun Beis Amud Aleph will continue without Zoom, and I'll have to be busy today. Continues the Mishnah. Ad Mosa Mutar Leachzir. Until when is one allowed to give back the coin and claim I was cheated? You gave me a coin that's too small. The seller runs after the buyer and says, "Hey, the coin you gave me was too small, was not really valuable enough." How far? How long can he still do that? What's his window of time, window of opportunity to do that? We know that when it came to what? When it came to goods, to schoiro, how much? To show your friends, the fit and the kam, which was alocho. How much is it in this Bakfarim. Bakfarim. Sorry. In the villages where they don't have banks, if you live in a village, I guess the shopping was once a week before Shabbos. The next time you'll show your coin, you will be where? At the Erev Shabbos shop. When you buy your Shabbos shopping, that's when you're going to show your coin. And the person in the cashier would say if it's good or bad. And until then, you have time to return it to the guy who gave you the bad coin. Yeah. So in town, it's enough time to go to the Shulchani, which is in downtown, which is the same day. And in the villages, they don't do that much business. Only Erev Shabbos, everyone buys their food. And therefore, then, until then, you have enough time to show and complain about the guy who gave you the bad money. Now comes the Gemara, the Mishnah talks about Lifnim Shur Sadin. I'm not going to details because the Meforshim don't explain much, but I'll tell you what I saw. Let's say the person who gave the bad money realizes and recognizes he gave bad money. He just wants to be honest. Yeah, he wants to be honest, and yeah, the guy who was cheated, the one who got the bad money, comes and complains long time after Friday. Yeah, he comes much longer. Says the Mishnah, afilu la'achar 12 chodesh b'kabla himenu. He should accept it even after an entire year. If you're an honest person, then you're supposed to accept that bad money and return and give him and give him good money instead. Yeah, if you gave the bad money, give him good money instead, even after an entire year. You may ask, what's the chiddush? We'll see in the Gemara. On the other hand, if the person is not so nice, meaning the one who gave the bad money says, I'm sorry, your time passed. I was here until Friday. It's a village. Now it's already Monday. You had enough time to complain. You missed your window of opportunity. Then he's right. And the person who was cheated has ta'oimis, has bad feelings about him, but nothing more than that. Yeah. In other words, it's up to you. You missed your chance. That's what the Meforshim the Mishnah explained. You should have complained on time. You missed our return policy window of time. Bevakasha, finished. Sorry. Now the imhoya makira. Sorry. Oh, here comes a very interesting aspect here of the Mishnah. Can that coin that's missing, let's say, one, according to Rabbi Yehuda, 112, Rabbi Meir 124, Lefi Rab Shimon 16, let's say that coin, which in the business world can be returned and not accepted and be compensated, can I give it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What do I mean? Can I give it as Meiser Sheni? In other words, let's say I have X amount of fruit that I want to be Mechalel, redeemed for money, and the value tzvi has to be the value of the coin. Remember, that's the question. It has to be the value of the fruit. Let's say the value is not exactly the same. Yeah, the value of my coin is the same as the fruit minus 1/12, let's say. It's missing that bit. Says the Mishnah, Nois in the Meiser Sheni. Yes, you can give it as Meiser Sheni. Why? In other words, it's Keilu HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't mind those small differences of 1/12 or 1/24 in that. Why? Says the Mishnah, it's just bad midas, bad behavior, bad nefesh. Says that the first is all kamtzan is the person who is makpid on those small amounts in coins, although halacha recognizes it, that if the person is makpid, we recognize he has the right to be makpid, but it's not good midos. Yeah, that's not in Uncle Moshe's whatever. It's not the midos machine. In other words, ben Adam lamakoim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not really makpid on that shtickle, little chipping of 1/24 to 1/48 or maybe even 1/6, because it shouldn't really make a difference. People between themselves, if the guy is a kamtza, nefesh ra, halacha, goes along with him and says you have to change it. But mitzad ben Adam lamakom ma'aser sheni, it's not really missing something in objective look, which is a HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Again, don't ask me on those last pieces because the Meforshim here don't say much, and we're waiting for the Gemara, unless it's about something else. Better. Says the Gemara. Vermini. Ramini means, what's a question called Ramini? That is to say, we're going to now make the Mishnah face another brisa that seems to be saying the opposite. It's a stira, a contradiction between one Mishnah and another, a Mishnah and a brisa. Zok the brisa. Ad kamatea sela chasero. Up until what is the seller should be missing v'yeba oino, which means, the way we understand it now, what is the shear that is called oino? Amar v'chule, 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 v'chule. 6, 12, and the whole thing. The question is, if you follow the Mishnah, if you go back to the Mishnah, that stand up in behind an art scroll. The Mishnah says, the Mishnah said that those shiurim are shiurim of the 6th or 12th or 24th, are shiurim where it's not yet called oino. Beyond that, more than that is oino, but that is not oino. And yet the Brisa says, and gives you the same amounts, right? You know, that kind of point of let's pick a korban, a 6, let's say, if you're a Shimon, does it belong to the yes or no or no? In our Mishnah, it says lo yeba no. It's still considered to be okay. And one level above that, let's say 1/5 tagid, 1/5 point something, which is bigger, that's already a problem. But 6 is still okay. The price says just the other way around. Again, I'm reading. Yeah, up until what is the seller missing? V'yeba no, and has no, and it's saying 6. Oh, so it's a stira. The point, the cutoff point itself of 6 or whichever ones, does it belong to the still okay coin or not good, already not good coin? Amar Papa, easy answer. Loi kasha, not difficult. Everyone here knows the rule of ad ve'ad bichlal, ad ve'loi ad bichlal. Yeah, if I tell you I'll sell you something till Friday, does that include Friday? Yeah, and I can do it, all the way till Shabbos, or till Friday means Thursday. It says inclusive or non-inclusive. Thank you for the English word. Says the Gemara, that's the easy answer. Really, 6 is oino. Yes, that's the answer. Yeah, homogeneically, both Bryce and Mishnah believe that shiur, let's say 6 lamoshel, is considered to be oino, and the person has the right to demand a return. You gave me a bad coin. Elamai, why is it phrased differently? It's only a matter of phraseology. Tana didan choshiv mimata lamala. Our Tana choshiv mimata lamala, which means ad veloy ad bichlal. What do you mean from milamata lemala? Means to say like this: up until when is it still a good coin? Start talking milamata, meaning when the problem is not so big. Imagine yourself, we talk about a big coin, good, nice, shiny coin. When it's completely full, it's good. When it's a bit chipped, still good, still good, still good, still good, more and more chipped. It reached what? It reached the 6. Then add 6, it's good, not including 6, which was already not good. Lo yad bichlal. That's the Mishnah. Mashenken Brisa, Tana Boro. The Brisa, the Tana, which is exterior, the Bor, the Chitzoni, the Brisa, Kechosh Melamala Lamata. He looked just the other way around. Melamala meaning missing a lot. Lamala for the bed. Melamala, let's say there's a coin that's terribly missing, tiny, fishy coin, that's bad. A little better, still bad. A little better, still bad. Oh, it reached the 6, then it is still bad. Ad bichlal. Ad bichlal, it's still considered as bad. They both say the same. Each one started from different direction, but they both agree that 6 is bad and it's called oino. That's Pasha. Now continues the Gemara in a whole different question. The question I asked you before. My shna besela de pligi. Why is it when it comes to sela, we have 3 opinions, right? 24, 12, and 6. And we're talking about a sela, and yet, umashna betalis, when we spoke about a talis, and talis, by the way, is just an example for any item you buy. When we spoke about, movable, about metaltalin stuff you buy, goods that you buy, the loy pligi, nobody argued, and everyone agreed that, that 6 is a shiur. Everyone was a Reb Shimonik. Everyone agreed that 6 is a shiur, except for Reb Tarfon that said a 3rd, and even that wasn't so simple. You want to repeat Tagri Lloyd? I'll repeat it for you. Yeah. Then, if you misbehave, we'll go back to Tagri Lloyd. So Lamaisa, what's going on? How is it by money, there's so much of an agreement, argument, and even small amounts are looked at, with a magnifying glass. When it comes to the stuff you bought, the jacket you wear, everyone agrees that we have a much bigger size, a bigger percentage of a 6, and only then you start fetching. Why? Rava gives us an unbelievable, surprising answer. Man Tana Talis, Rab Shimoni. You know who is the Tana that all along, for days and days, already spoke to us about talis or other items being a 6? It's Rab Shimon, which means Enachinami. Rab Yudan and Rabbi Meir, also when it comes to buying regular goods, stuff, merchandise, they would also argue, wow. And they would say up to a 12th or up to 24th. Wow, small amount. I was cheated 1/24th. I can go to the shop and claim at least that back from the owner. Wow, or from the seller. Big chiddush, but that's what Rava says. I don't know why being so nitpicking. Maybe the Torah wants us to be very, very yosher. The Torah is very high demands. Like all the stories about the tzaddikim, half an agora is already choshuv, not less than a pruta. 1/24 can be a million. Depends what you're buying and selling. Rak regativ akasha. I promise you I'll listen to you soon. Abai Omar, and that's the end of this section. Abai gives us an answer that would make sense to all of us. Abai says, Talis ad shtus, when you buy something nice, Talis up to a 6 difference in price, you overpriced up to a 6. You buy a nice jacket, Lekovat Shabbos Kodesh, and then your friend, these people always want to make you feel bad after you bought something. Such nice people. You bought this for 500 shekels? I got it for 400. So now you go to a few friends and they all give you this non-bargaining business of, not mefargen, of what? They tell you that really you are overpriced. Up to 6 yomoichel inish. Why? You got something nice. You got something in your hands, right? You're willing to overlook. I spent a bit more. I love my jacket. Here, t-shirt. I love my jacket. The Amri Inchi, and even people say it in the times of the Gemara, there was such a phrase, the Gemara tells us, Ashik legabich, you should buy something expensive. Ashik, something which should be expensive. Ashik is to steal, also means, like they say, it's a steal, but here means it's expensive. It's a steal means it's cheap in English. Yeah, here means it's to steal, buy something expensive for legabich, to cover your back, to be dressed nicely. Vishavi lekersich. But for your food, don't buy expensive food. For your keres, for your beer belly, for your belly, don't buy expensive things. So Taisus asks what about the food. Lemaisa, the idea is you buy expensive, don't fret over it. It's okay. You got something nice, don't fetch over a 6. But Sela, on the other hand, money, if I was given money that's not in circulation, that money doesn't go, meaning that money which is chipped less than that is chipped 1/24th, let's say, maybe the other merchant won't be as nice as me. It's just bad money. It's bad money. What can I do? It's very cruel with money. It's numbers. It's cruel. Either the money is good or bad. Other people may not accept the 1/24th, and you have to recognize that. And therefore, loy machil. Therefore, even the nice guy is not necessarily mochel. He doesn't have nice stuff that he's wearing. He has money. Money is something that has to have real value and real size, real circulation. Otherwise, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. And therefore, even 1/24th, lefi some shitas, is already a problem. You've been very, very patient, and I want to hear what you have to say. Rav from the Peanut Gallery. I hear it. Gufa. Okay, let's see now. Let's dive into Gufa, into the actual part of the sugya which was mentioned before. Ad kamatea sela chasera v'yeba. Up until what? Gufa means we quoted that brisa. Now we are going to delve into the brisa deeper. Ad kamatea sela chasera v'yeba. Up until what is the sela missing and is considered to be oino, as oino. Abimeir omer arbo isoris isa ledinar. 4 isorim isa ledinar. Rabbi Meir says again that is 1/24th. Rabbi Yehuda omer dalid pundinios pundin ledinar. Rabbi Yehuda says it's 1/12th. 4 pundinios out of a sela, which is 1 pundian for a dinar. That's a 12th, right? You can look in the chart behind me and you'll figure it out better than me. Rabbi Shimon omer shmona pundinios. Shnei pundian ledinar. Rabbi Shimon says 8 pundinios from a sela, which is 2 pundinios to a dinar, which is 1/6. Very nice. Yeser al ken. Oh, what happens if it's really more than that? Which means, let's say the coin is missing more metal. It's missing more metal, which means sometimes when a coin is, let me explain it this way. When a coin is missing just enough that people notice, that's a bad seller. A bad seller is not gonna go further, right? You're allowed to keep it in your house, and there won't be any issues with anybody stealing or cheating. Sometimes, I'm giving you an introduction, the coin becomes so small, it's chipped so much more, it looks like half of its real size. It is close to half the size. And then people and it looks like a cheaper coin. And that somehow can create fraud. That can create cheating. Yeah. In other words, it's one coin that looks like another coin. It's postal. It's like a postal sela, right? But because it was chipped so much and it's not really worth like a sela, it may look, we live in a very different world, but we have to understand, it looks so small that it already looks like a shekel, which is half a sela. And I would give it as a shekel where really it's not. It's not really a good minted shekel. it's a bad seller, size of the shekel, and I'm cheating. It's worth nothing almost. And really, I'm giving it as if it's a shekel. Such a coin should not be even kept at home because it's a michshol. Yeah, it's like keeping in your house Isur Doraisa. I don't know if it's Doraisa of Midas or Mishkolos, of keeping in your house, the bad ways or the bad measurements. Could be to do that too. I haven't checked it either. Let's continue now. Yeah, ad kama tipochet v'yirasha lekaima. Up until what stage is it going to be less than original chip, and you're still allowed to be mekaim, still allowed to keep it in your house, and we're not concerned that it looks good. We know it's a bad seller. The seller ad shekel. If it's a seller, then shekel is half the seller. Yeah, seller chip, then it's a bad seller. Everybody knows it's a bad seller. Up until shekel. Once it looks like a shekel, bad news. You're not allowed to keep it in your house anymore. The dinar ad roiva. In a dinar which is a quarter of a seller. A dinar is a quarter. Oh, Americans. It's a quarter. Dinar is a quarter of a seller. And that quarter ad roiva. Until a quarter of the dinar, you're allowed to keep it until it looks like a quarter of a dinar, or possibly it could be quarter of I think it's a quarter of a dinar. Yeah, ad roiva. Pochas mikan, yeah. So pochas mikan, isar also. Let's see. I don't know. It keeps. Pochas isar. Pochas mikan, isar also. I don't think it means to say isar over here. Let me check a second in Rashi. Second. Yeah, I don't think isar means isar is isar. Yeah, Rashi says like a main before. That's what I didn't. Yeah, the Gemara will explain later why it's called isar. Also loitzia, you're not allowed to even keep it, not just loitzia. When it's small and it looks like the other coin, the smaller coin, you're not allowed to even keep it. Hareze loim kerena, and don't sell it. You know who are the people who are interested in buying it? Don't sell it to them specifically. Loi letagal, don't sell it to a soicher. Why not to a soicher? He wants to cheat. He wants to use that coin, yeah, as a make-believe shekel. Velo lecharam, not to a person who is a haram, is an anas, is a person who steals from people, the mafioso, a ganav, mamash schwindler, below harag, people who kill. The kids don't sell it to criminals, they don't sell it to the circum, even though they may give you good money for that. With that, they cheat other people with that. They use it as fraud, so don't sell it to them. Now, I just contradicted myself, right? What did I tell you? I told you don't keep it, right? Now I'm telling you don't sell it to others. Mashma, you have to keep it. What's the story? Says the Brisa, don't worry. Ela yikavena. What you should do with it is perforate it. You have to have, some good drill there, yeah? Yeah, you should make a hole in it, perforate it, and yikvena vitlena betzvar b'noi or betzvar bitoy, and hang it as a tachshit, as a piece of jewelry in your neck of your son or your daughter. Yeah, I guess for some people, boys also, they wear like a small necklace. Yeah, and then he's okay, and you can give it to the boy or the girl as a tachshit. That's something you can do. I want to remind you that we saw that I mentioned that more in brief when Toysus wanted to say that a coin is also called a kli. Remember Chalipin many years ago? Yeah, so Chalipin, what's called a kli? What's called? Toysus says matbeh is a kli because you can see every matbeh is potentially a piece of jewelry. This one, don't use a jewelry stamp. You have to perforate it so nobody should come to use it. Yeah, your friend shouldn't go to school and start a whole business over there. Now, Omar Mar, now we want to explain the Brisa, and actually what we're going to see now is what I told you before. The seller ad shekel, when it comes to seller, you're allowed to keep the bad seller until it starts looking like a shekel, meaning it lost half its size, yeah? The dinar ad roiva. In a dinar is up to a quarter of that size. Why? Why sell it till shekel and dinar until a roiva? Why here half and here a quarter? Yeah. Now I'm not 100% sure about this roiva business, but I think so. That seems to go with the flow. Omar Abaye, my roiva dektani nami. You know what it means to say when he says roiva? Roiva shekel. A quarter of a shekel is really what we're looking at. How much is a quarter of a shekel? A shekel is 2 dinarim, right? True. Sela is 4 dinarim. Okay. Now, a shekel is half a sela. So 1 shekel equals 2 dinarim. True. So now, a quarter of a shekel is how much? 1 dinar. True? No. 1 dinar. Yeah. and therefore it's really half a dinar. So it's really half a dinar. It's not a quarter of a dinar. It's a quarter of a shekel, which is half a dinar. So Lemaisa, both seller is half and both dinar is half. So my uncertainty was right. I wasn't sure what's going on, right? That's exactly what Gemara says. Good. In other words, why is it a quarter of a dinar? It's not quarter of a dinar. It's quarter of a shekel, which is half a dinar. Half a dinar. So we're now being very homogenic, very consistent. Half a seller looks like another coin, and half a dinar also looks like another coin. And Rashi says that there's another, yeah. Look at the Rashi, the second widest line. Roiva shekel, matbea cotton shel chatzi dinar. There's another matbea called chatzi dinar. See, I wrote it down over here. V'hu akor b'gmar sela medina. Sela medina. You asked a question about Eretz Yisrael. I wasn't sure referring to tsuri. You were talking about tsuri. Tsuri is 8 times more than everything else, right? So sela medina, which is cheaper, sela medina is actually half a dinar, and that's an eighth of a sela, right? Isn't that true? Yes. Half a dinar is eighth. Yeah. A dinar is a quarter of a sela. Half a dinar is eighth of a sela. Yes. Remember, that sela medina is eighth of a sela tsuri. So answering your question, Leon, that sela we talk about is tsuri, the expensive, big one. Later on, the cheaper ones called sela medina. Later, earlier, I'm not sure which one came first. That's an eighth of that. But we're very consistent now. The idea is don't keep your money. Let it erode. It's okay. You want to have it eroded? Better. You feel like collecting coins. Bakasha. But once it got to half a coin, which looks like either a shekel in this case, or looks like sela medina in this case, that's very dangerous because people may mislead others, yeah, to use it. And as the other coin, it's really bad coin. It's really not a good one. Omar Rova says Rova to support Abaye. Rova is supporting Abaye. Dai Kanami. I'll be medaik from the brisa that my colleague Abaye is right. The Katani Roiva, the Lo Katani Revia Shmamina. Interesting. Yeah. In other words, it says Roiva, not Revia. In other words, the word Roiva, I don't know the difference, Roiva and Revia. Some of the word Roiva shows you more than Revia, that's a quarter of something else. Although I have to check out why. I don't know why. What do you mean? No, but what is Rova means more than a Revia. Rova means a quarter of something bigger, and not Revia, which is a quarter of the dinar. So I'm not sure why. Actually, that I have to check, and I have to come back tomorrow with an answer. Okay. The Seder. Okay, now the Gemara is asking something else. Let's leave it for now. I'll stop now. That's a question which I had. I'll stop here. Questions, comments? Thank you very much, everyone. To all the choilim. Welcome, Leon. Whether you're going to come every day or not, you're always welcome. Thank you very much.